Hey, good morning. Welcome back to The Link. We're brought to you by Pacific Points, Cabo Enterprises, ITD, and Jack in the Box, the home of the KUAM Podcast Network, where we're just so proud to have Pãle Eric Forbes on our podcast network with I-lekña, Pãle. And Pãle Eric joining us now in the KUAM News Link Zoom room. Good morning, Father.
Hey, long time no smell.
I know, yep. And it's funny you say that because this episode of I-lekña Pãle is focusing on the Chamorro obsession with smell, right, Father?
Well, why do we say long time no smell?
Why do we say that?
That's the younger generation, right? But they say it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, because, usually
there might be a link with that old-time Chamorro obsession with smell.
Right, like you have a certain smell. Like my mom... And this is something we talk about in the podcast episode. I remember when I got my GED, went off to the States. My mom didn't know when I was going to come back, so she asked me to wear a shirt for a couple days. And then when I was going to go to the airport, she asked for the shirt, and she actually kept it under her pillow for a couple years. And anytime she really, really missed me, she would take out that shirt and just smell me. And I've heard other Chamorro families do that too. So. You're right. It is a little bit of an obsession, and is this something that you've been?
Was that the shirt you used to bush cut?
Yeah, that was. Yes, I had to get very, very polfafa in it to get the accurate smell, Pãle. So, is this something? The obsession with smell, is this something you've noticed ever since you were young, or is it something you just kind of?
I like the topic for two reasons. Number one, it seems to be uniquely Chamorro. It's a big world out there. There may be other cultures that really prize the sense of smell. But in our immediate vicinity, I can't think of any culture. I mean, the Filipinos put the mano po, up to the forehead, but we put it to the nose. And the act is called mangingi, which means to smell. So, maybe in ancient times you actually did go.
Yeah, and in modern times when you do that, you usually get a face full of Auntie's perfume.
Or powder.
Pãle, we have
you turn Howley.
Right here, right. We got a little clip.
You have a white nose.
We're gonna play this little clip from this latest episode of I-lekña Pãle right here on the KUAM Podcast Network, and then we'll come back. Pãle hasn't had breakfast yet, so we'll come back and tell you where to get the episode and what's coming up with Father Eric Forbes right here on the link. Again, it's a sneak peek of the new episode of I-lekña Pãle. Good morning.
Why are Chamorros obsessed with smelling? And, you have that favorite auntie who says, "Come here, boy, I love you so much," and she gives you a tight squeeze and all her powder from her, her chest gets in your face,
and her perfume,
and instead of kissing you with her lips, she grabs your hair and pushes your hair into her nose, and she takes the biggest whiff that you've ever smelled, and she goes, "Oh, you're so mangy," which means you're so delicious.
Yeah.
So not only are Chamorros,
we're cannibals.
We're not obsessed with odors. We're also obsessed with taste.
That explains that.
But that could be another topic for another podcast. But today we're just looking at our obsession with smells, with fragrances, with odors. And this is a very timely topic because as we're facing COVID, because one of the symptoms I'm hearing about that people who've actually caught COVID can't stand is the loss of taste and smell.
Right.
And it goes to show just how important the sense of smell is. We talk a lot about the other senses and not so much the sense of smell. But the sense of smell is very primeval. I'm not a scientist, but if you read the literature, people think that scholars think that smell came before some of the other senses. It's very basic to almost all forms of life, even single cell organisms that are tiny, can't even see without a microscope. They will react to smells. These tiny organisms don't even have eyes, but they'll react to smell. And you know how dogs will come up to you, and what do they primarily use? Is their nose, right? They stick their nose in every crevice.
There might be some tongue in there too, Pãle.
Well, yeah. So, you know, the sense of smell is very important. And, you know, people who have caught COVID, who have lost their sense of smell, will tell you that. Because eating has become reduced. The pleasure of eating has been reduced by 50% or more.
Right.
And people know that, you know. Pinch your nose the next time you want to eat something very delicious, and you'll notice the difference.
Yeah, it's funny because someone was just talking today about drinking Chamorro medicine, and they brought up that pinch your nose when you...
Right.
Yeah.
Because it reduces the, you know, the disgust.
Yeah. That's a sneak peek from the new episode of I-lekña. See, Pãle. Pãle, I saw you had a picture there. There's a little photographic evidence of our obsession with smelling.
Yeah, and this picture has a lot to do with the second reason why I like the topic, because not only is it uniquely Chamorro, but it's also fading. Now it's all... And we never did that before. And this is a picture of Bishop Flores at the time in Luta. And he's being pangingi by the mother of Sister Benedict. It's a great shot, isn't it? Because you can even see her nose.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pãle, and you know, maybe that's a subject for a future podcast that we can do, is how the way we show respect to our elders has really changed, because I feel like maybe my generation, and my kids are good at it, because, you know, I want them to be, but I feel like we're the last ones to really, you know, touch the hand to the nose and do that kind of
It's
thing.
not just elders, Chris, because in this picture, she's older than him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's about status.
Right. And so that sounds like a great topic for a future podcast, Pãle.
Yeah.
This is now, though, I like, you know, there's one thing we talked about in this podcast where we brought up the Chamorro sniff kiss, which is that when you talked about almonding Auntie, and then Auntie pulls you in, puts her hair in your nose, and does that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I do that to my kids.
Is it a survival kit?
Yeah. Pãle, thank you for joining us, and
You're welcome.
We're looking forward to this episode. We'll let you go get your coffee and your breakfast. It's everywhere, guys. It's on Apple Podcast, Spotify. I know that we also throw it up on our KUAM social media platforms. Pãle, thank you for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. Okay, there you go. Pãle, Eric Forbes, part of the KUAM podcast network, I-lekña. See, Pãle, we were kind of talking in the KUAM News Zoom room about some of the topics that we can discuss coming up on future podcasts. And I don't want to give away too much, but Tongan, that sounds like a great topic, Pãle. I'm excited for that. I feel like we could go deep. I feel like this is a podcast that will really get some roots.
Okay.
There you
Will
go.
do.
Right on. There you go. 7:04. It's Tuesday. We're coming back with Julianne Lee, a celebrated author and also a cancer survivor. She's doing a public reading of a great book that she wrote that's been really well reviewed, honestly. Coming up Saturday. We'll tell you all about it next right here on the link. And also Tuesdays, guys, change things a little bit because, you know, we're ending the show at 9 now. So Tuesday, 7:30, we hear from our friends at FHP for Hoffa Health Tips, and that's coming up today. 8:30 on the show, we'll go to the CNMI with Tomas I-lekña. That's also coming up right after our 8 o'clock newscast here on the link. Good morning.
The KUAM Podcast Network is back and on demand, featuring a great variety of podcasts.